Good morning and welcome to another Breakfast with the Vicar with me, the Reverend David Perry. Sorry about the lighting in here, it's not so good. I was recently catching up with the news and the events of the last few days and letting them settle into the model of the world that I'd created in my own mind. I found that if I test the day's news against my own perceptions and my own sort of paradigms, then it seems to make better sense of the news, and it lets me also try and discern that news which is, shall we say, less than wholly truthful. I was shocked a few days back when the first thing that the new leader of the Labour Party seemed to do was to start sniping at Boris Johnson. Now, two things seem to me to be clear. Firstly, Boris had been very seriously ill, and whatever spin was put on that, and I suspect there was a little but not a lot, he did look dreadful. He looked like a man who had been seriously ill. And secondly, many people have died due to this illness against which we as a nation are coming together to fight. And in my mind, to start sniping and making political hay quite so soon was shameful, and whatever the man does now, I'm afraid in my eyes, he will always seem a little cheap. But during this, I thought to myself that the holiday feeling of the lockdown has started to diminish. It's over. And the boring bit was beginning. The infighting and the blaming was about to start. And so it has proved to be. Who is to blame for the lack of PPE, the lack of a vaccine, the lack of nurses and doctors and carers? And who is to blame for the lack of visors? Who is to blame? Closed blame questions are usually the remit of the BBC. Lawyers, you can find my address probably at the bottom of the page. But now it seems that we're all at it. And it is shameful. Whose fault is it that we didn't have 1 million face masks? It's an irrelevant question, isn't it? We didn't need them. We've never needed 1 million face masks before, or visors, or an army of carers and nurses. We've never needed them because we've never faced this C-19 virus before. In fact, we haven't faced anything like it in our lifetimes. 1918 was the last time, I think, and if we did want anything that would protect us from something that happened last in 1918, then who would pay for them? Draining the war chest for nurses and PPE is fine today, but what about tomorrow? What if the war that we drain the chest for isn't the war that we actually end up fighting? Surely the point of a war chest is that it's just that. It's a chest which is kept locked until you need it, open in case of war and not before. But should we have seen it coming? Well, I might argue that yes, we should, but I would also argue that we probably did. Working with the government and the World Health Organization and other nations around the globe, I think we did see something like this coming. We certainly did something right, because the total deaths in the UK now are below anywhere except Germany and Belgium, and even the professionals don't know why the Germans have got such a low number of deaths. Of course, thank God that they do have, but it would be nice to know why. The Germans say it's because they were better equipped to test more people, and I wonder why that is. What is it in their recent history which has made them prepare for mass biological testing? I wonder if this is a relic of the Cold War. I really don't know, and I don't think anyone does. However, in my opinion, we weren't too badly prepared, so we can stop the blame game. Now, and this is what I really wanted to think about, let's consider the future of our lives after COVID. Yesterday, the World Health Organization said that we needed to be ready to live with C-19, not after it. It won't go away, they said. The chances are it will linger around like a very nasty case of flu, and we must change our lives to accommodate it. But how will this look? I have seen, as you have I'm sure, and we've all commented on, the fact that most people seem to be having quite a positive time of lockdown. I am aware that this isn't universally true, of course, and there are some people having a thoroughly miserable time, and to you, my friends, my heart genuinely does go out. But there are positives for everyone. Everyone can now stop and think about their futures. Many people use their cars a lot less, see the glorious slump in the price of oil and petrol. It's wonderful to see. Many people fly less, they ride the bus less, and so on. And almost universally, people say they like this. Many people I know are working from home, and they're also starting to consider a life after COVID or with COVID, and yet still not working from the office as much as they used to do. Many shops have started to consider a future with reduced footfall. There might be a better future with C19 than we imagined, or that we dared to imagine. But what about those who have lost their livelihoods? Well, I myself, as a non-stipendiary minister, had a proper job outside of the church, and that's gone. I now find myself employed new as a delivery driver for a well-known online megastore. It's not the job I had before, and it's probably not the one I really wanted, but the company is good, my new colleagues are nice, and as they say, every little helps. I'm now thinking about all the entrepreneurs out there who are enjoying this as a golden opportunity. There must be some young guns just waiting to go into business battle as soon as they're allowed to. I don't know who they are, of course, but remember, the Reverend told you first. Well, when Jesus came to this world, he was expected to come as a great king. He was expected to unite the known world and expel the devil, or at least the Romans. Jesus himself poured cold water on that idea right away. In Luke chapter 12 verse 51, Jesus says, "Do you think that I have come to bring peace to the earth? No, I tell you, I come to bring division." You see, Christ knew that if you want to make omelettes, you've got to break eggs. He understood that some people would love him, some people would hate him, some would adore him, and some would fear him. Some would not or could not live in a world after he had changed it. But for those who could, there awaited a glorious and joyous, better future. A future changed from glory into glory. A world which caused them to think and ponder how the heck they lived their lives before. Jesus makes us all think, or he should. My sadness is reserved for those not who think about Christ and then reject him. That's their choice. Good luck to them. Now, my sadness is reserved for those who say, "Oh, Jesus, yeah, now, about this week's Love Island." They know of Jesus, but they don't think about him, and that's a shame. They don't consider their futures following the changes he brought about. I think we have a similar situation now, if we want it to be. Corona is a world changing, and it is and it will be seen as an historic point in our civilization. Anyone who looks back and says, "Oh, Corona, yeah, did you see Love Island this week?" They are losing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reassess their lives and grab a brighter future. Which will you be? Which will I be? I pray blessings on us all, my friends. See you next time.